So, what happens with our duo?
Well, we gotta go pick up those guys.
Ah, indeed. They did in fact promise you that they would be around today for your services. Would you like to go ahead and roll gossip and see if you can acquire them today?
I thought they were guaranteed.
It's mostly me speaking around and explaining failure. The rules technically still stand as is.
Okay, so every time you say, I
Every
guarantee they will be here tomorrow.
They are probably lying through their teeth. Never trust a salesman. What are you doing?
You don't want me trying to help you. I've only got a 12 in this.
Didn't I have like a plus 20 last time?
I think so. Because they were relatively easy to get.
Just checking.
So their company name is The Clap.
Awesome.
Oh, well, it'll just be a few more hours. I'm sure they'll send more word today. Just come back in the evening. I guarantee it. Guarantee. And I'm sorry to do this, but they are just not coming through. So, what do you do about this?
I'll wait.
Oh, also, technically, you rolled charm, but it's the same stat and bonuses for you, isn't it?
Actually, no. Actually, I have a plus 10% in my, gossip.
Oh.
So that would make it a 86. That was a pass.
Ah, there you go. See? And nearly as she's saying that, and as you're turning around, in comes a letter. And the letter will indicate where you can meet uh, the rousing company of hirelings that have expressed interest in being acquired. Let's see. Do you want to introduce them? As you have went ahead and made sheets for each one of them too.
Well, the idea that I had was that since it's no fun sitting there not playing when the other half of the team is doing something, that, well, Gustav isn't here, but Alexa at least could look at the sheets and then, hey, I want to play this person while we're on the other team. If that's cool with you.
Of course, but
Fine.
I was more speaking to who are they and what are they like?
Right, but the idea here is that I filled out the details, but if somebody else is going to play them, then it's up to them to look at the sheets and give them a voice. If I say, oh, they're like this, and you play them a different way, then does it really matter in the end?
Well, does a little bit, but
Okay.
more or less to the point. You do have a ragtag group of dwarves, all set up with their own abilities and expertise, ready and willing to go on an adventure. They're looking for fun, they're looking for excitement, and, well, it turns out someone promised that. Of course, they also would enjoy some pay.
Well, I've already
I
marked it
believe
off on
indeed
mine.
you do. I'm sorry, I think I interrupted you.
I said I already marked it off on mine that I'm paying him for a week.
Perfect. So you'll have them until day 2 rolls around again.
By the way, Alexa, I don't normally call you right now. Just keep calling you
Yeah.
Alexa for the time being. Uh,
Fine.
If you go into the character section on the thing under NPCs, there's one that's called Expedition. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I just added them to everyone's journal.
Yeah, I
Grimly
saw
and
that they were
Dimsad.
there. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
There's two Bartensons,
Yeah.
Grimly and Dimsad.
Who
That's
knows?
They're
funny.
brothers.
One's an interrogator, the other is an intrepid explorer.
Well, the brother, he he's a little rough around the edges, but we're still the best of buds. Still
Yeah.
together today, the Bardenson brothers. I lead the way, and then he scares everyone.
This could be tragic if we end up killing one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah, as if all death isn't tragic.
So which NPCs would I take control
Any or all that you wish, ultimately.
of? Okay, I'm taking Grimly and Dimsad.
Alright. So go ahead and just keep that in mind for yourself, and
Okay.
if
Actually,
you ever want to speak up as them.
if you don't mind, I'd like to have control of one of them. Not one of the brothers, not one of the ones you picked. Since I am playing a non-violent pacifist, I would like to have somebody also in the repertoire who would be able to fight if I needed to defend.
That is perfectly fair.
So I think I'm going to take Kazaril. Darguson.
Alright, so half the party is claimed, leaving 2 more for our Gustav if he appears. Alright, so, well, you spent a little bit of time making sure that you acquired your expedition team. But what now?
We go back to the past.
Alright,
Samurai
so you
Jack.
intend to immediately just go back, climb the mountain, and then see what happens.
Right.
Alright. So, this is going to be, well, you already climbed it yesterday. The ropes are still available to you, so are the pythons. And I don't think your team of dwarves would have any trouble climbing, would they? Looks like they have decent strength.
Oh yeah, they're all pretty strong and dwarvy.
Alright. So you spend most of your morning getting out of the city, going around the mountain, climbing up to it, and setting up at the door. Once you're up there, all the dwarves seem to let out a little bit of a collective gasp at just the immensity of the stone gate.
The boys didn't know this was here.
Oh, of course not. Well, not specifically. There's doors all like this all around the mountain.
Grimly can Grimly make a trade cartography to properly document and map this location?
Absolutely. He can go ahead and pull out his paper and quill and start marking it out on the map so that no one forgets this place ever again.
Sweet.
And
Make
indeed, he does do it properly.
Because it is a hidden entrance that's kind of right against the. Yeah, how do you miss this? Well, we're not missing it again.
and then he'll point to the insignia. Make note of this.
It was only hidden because it was dug into the side in such a way you couldn't see it from above or below.
I wonder how big this place was during its heyday. Stonebreaker clan might not have been that large, but
Well, we do have a whole bunch of dwarves. I wonder if any of them have dwarvy knowledge.
let's see. Common knowledge. I can't see what it says. They do.
They do.
Our intrepid cartographer is going to think about it for a second.
I don't get the roll because I've already rolled this check.
I think you did, but I think you're also a little bit of a dummy.
Well, I think all the dwarves have common knowledge dwarves, so I think his brother might have something to say.
Indeed. The cartographer just scratches his head and goes, "Well, it's not on my maps."
They're pretty dumb brothers,
The
though.
Bartensons have never heard of this ever before. It's so strange and esoteric.
That was a Kazaril. Although I'm pretty sure I already made this roll in past, so as Berthold.
Right. I think you got as much as you could, but maybe these guys have new info, and we'll see if these two have anything to say about it. Nope. And what about you?
It's sad and alarming.
All of them just sort of collectively shrug their shoulders and go,
Nobody's heard of this place before.
yeah, normally you just don't hear about dead clans. I guess people kind of stop talking about them after a bit.
There's a great wonder why so many dwarven holds have gone missing over time.
Yeah.
Of course, they just stopped sending us letters, so we just stopped caring. We think they hate us. We put it down the grudges, and then we just never think about it again. That's the dwarven way. One of them, though, will pipe up to the extent of saying, well, as far as it goes, though, if they were here, and they did ever communicate to anyone, someone has to have known them, right? I mean, obviously not us.
Yeah, you'd think that, especially how close they are to the city.
Oh, I suppose the only way they would find out would be to ask, but no one's greeting us at the door.
No. And considering, okay, now the first step is to see if this is mechanically held shut or if it's just closed on its own. So, is it possible to do a stonecraft check to see where the weaknesses are to see how it can open?
Uh, yeah, that would be sort of fair to do. Go ahead and roll Stonecraft. You're asking if it can move on its own, basically.
Right, or to see if it's mechanically closed.
Alright. Let's see the check. Ow.
These
Not
guys
that good of a
do
stoneworker.
have fortune points, by the way.
Grimly, you dummy.
No, I mean, they're fortune points, fate points. They're full-blown characters. They can do whatever. If you want to use a fate point or fortune point or whatever.
Well, they only have one for.
Better
Yeah,
save that for when, danger strikes.
yeah, but if we
Wonder-
never get inside, then when's danger gonna strike?
But Dimzad does not have stoneworking, so.
Ooh,
he does
okay.
not know.
Let's see what, Kazgarg has. You don't have stoneworking either. You do have minor, though. I think everyone does.
I randomed what trade skill they got.
That's totally fair.
Like, Kazaril has minor. No, I'm sorry, he has smith.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Dimzad has Smith and Grimly has stoneworker.
And what about Dargson? He has, yeah, Smith, like you said. All right.
So Grimly is the only one who could theoretically figure that out.
Right. So Grimly takes a look at it, scratches his beard, and just kind of goes, "Well, it's as solid as stone, that's for sure. May as well just be looking at the side of the mountain itself."
I guess I'll fortune point it.
All right. Let's see the fortune.
Aha!
Yes.
Huge success.
All right. He gives it all a deeper look after his initial assumption. And of course, rationally, it should be a thing that opens. So he investigates a little further and discovers that it is not simply a giant mound of stone. It can, in fact, open mechanically somewhere, and that there definitely ought to be a way to open it from the outside. Though where exactly, he's yet to exactly find. But he can narrow it down with his knowledge. It can't be too far from the gate, otherwise the mechanisms just wouldn't reach. So, uh, if anyone does a search, they could go ahead and take a +10.
May I?
Absolutely. invigorated again on a new day to search out for the opening. And brushing around the rocks, around the gate. The gate area is rather clear, as if like something came through and swept out a whole bunch of dust. But there's one particular spot that looks like there's a stone embedded in the ground itself that's a little odd. And when you start messing with it, it sort of opens on a hinge, and underneath in the ground itself reveals a small lever.
And like this, grimly, and I'll point to what he's uncovered.
Aha! Yes.
Nah, that can't be it. No, of course it is. Good job.
Pull the lever, Morden.
Pull the
I'll do
lever.
so.
And as you pull the lever, you feel as if the whole mountain itself is shaking as those doors open wide and reveal a dark, gloomy interior.
Ah, smells like home.
Alright, who brought the torches?
Well, they're dwarves, so they have dark vision.
Well, sometimes it's nice to actually have some real light. But I was talking about for him, and they all point to their employer.
I'll just put my hand on Mordrin's shoulder, and I'll just follow like a seeing eye dog.
Mordrin will accept this burden.
You're gonna stumble across something, you know.
Come on, sir. There's a stair down here.
Actually,
1, 2, count them.
Khazgar has a lantern and lamp oil.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah, I did make sure that I was prepared for some things. This group.
So indeed, you go ahead and take the lamp, light it up, and you are staring right around the gate entrance. And it looks like there's a lot of crap kind of built up on this side of the gate, really. A lot of it has kind of moved out of the way given the gate's motions. However, some of it looks like it's been moved around very recently. Like someone picked up and hurled like whole dressers out of the way. From this location, you can see up over to the gatehouse, where undoubtedly this is where defenders would probably be looking straight down to the gate. And you can also see ahead to a wide open area. And of course, the same idea map is in play. We are on the Stonebreakers map. Dwarf
Right.
Ruins. There
No,
you go.
I'm there.
Cool.
Well, this is an abandoned clan or an extinct one, and a perfectly good hold. Why, this is a perfect opportunity to reestablish the Bardenson clan back in Middenheim.
Don't get your hopes too far up. If there's any living ones, they'll want this place back.
Quick reminder for you.
Yes.
That not
Yes.
you, or you.
Me?
No, talking out of character.
Okay.
I guess more for Anna than
Yeah.
anybody else. The Bardensons are already established in Middenheim, not as a matter of backstory or anything. I said something last session when I was trying to get these people recruited about my prerequisites for who I would recruit. Shoot, I'm trying to zoom up on the chat I've had with Griff, but Discord's being pretty slow.
Oh, okay.
You remember what I said, Griff, right? Oh, there we go. I found it. Number 1 was dwarves only. Number 2 is they had to be citizens of Middenheim. And number 3 is that they had to have been able to trace their family back at least 2 generations of Middenheim, which means that the Bardensons have been here, citizens of Middenheim, for at least 2 generations back.
Okay. So they're more explorer types. Okay.
Now, if they have any plans for the hold, that's on them. But they are established. That's all I was getting at.
There you go. So they already have their place in the city. But here they are now, deep underground. And of course, you two are at the lead, as they are in fact paid by you. So, what do you do?
Well, the first thing that should be done is to map this area out so we know what we're dealing with.
Good idea. Don't want to get lost down here. No telling what might have happened, or perhaps sections have caved in.
So the gatehouse, yeah, we know where that is. That makes sense, and it seems as are the doors still like open or
They are all open for the moment, but as you turn around, you start to hear the mechanisms come to life again, and the doors start to slowly close.
hmm. It's mechanical based and it must be on some kind of timer. This is some interesting engineering.
Oh, absolutely. If we could perhaps get some sort of documentation for what they did here, oh, that would be worth its weight in gold alone.
Yes, indeed.
Paper doesn't weigh very much, though.
Ah, well, it's proportional. And he just sort of like dismissively waves his hand in your direction. It'll
We write
work
on
out.
cardboard.
We write on only the heaviest of stone tablets, so that the metaphors make sense.
Well, I suppose we will go to. Can we see the market from our area from this point, or no?
Absolutely. You can see the wide open area that it is, though you will have to move there to investigate, obviously.
Okay, that seems like a central location. So yes, Bardensons are heading that direction.
Alright. A lot of you head to the marketplace.
Yes.
And of course, it has the refuse of abandoned stalls and shops. All their items, more or less useless, rotted away. Uh, but, well, there's the climbing gear stand, which seems to have quite a lot of gear still in good repair. Though that seems to be one of the bare few exceptions.
Okay.
Of course, there in this section you see more and more skeletons. They are, of course, all facing one similar direction.
You do say more and more, which would be this is the first time you've mentioned skeletons to us, so. You
Oh,
see skeletons and then more skeletons.
my bad. There were a couple by the gate, but there are now an increasing amount the closer you get to the marketplace.
How many of them are there? Are there dozens or hundreds?
If you take the time to count them out, there are somewhere in the hundreds.
Jeez, this is an entire. Yeah, this is a whole stronghold.
On your estimation, in this area alone, there might be somewhere between 100 and 150.
That's not a small amount. I mean, this wasn't like some small little outpost. This was probably a village or a town of its during its heyday.
I imagine it was the whole damn clan, too.
And the
Guess this happened probably in
skeletons
the
are all
midst of their
facing.
day.
They're all facing something.
Whatever it is, must have been pretty important if they're thinking that when they die.
So, what's the goal in exploring this place?
Well, I'm looking for clues to my own ancestry here because each of our insignias is quite close, and he'll show them the drawing, the very bad drawing he made of his, insignia that he
Mhm.
remembers. And remember the one at the door? Very close.
Okay.
There's also the facet of the fact that you are hired as an expedition team, and that you earn a share of whatever comes out of this, so you are incentivized to find something of value for that respect.
Well, if we're searching for records, there must be a clan library or at least a book of grudges. So we should try
Yes.
to search for that.
Suppose if anyone's gonna have that, it's whoever was at the head of this clan. Sure, they got a nice place somewhere around here, right?
Yes. So off of the marketplace, we can see a stairway that leads down. Looks like it's crumbled.
It should hold our weight, more or less, right? But in another direction, of course, you do see a long hallway heading deeper into the mountain, and off to the side, sort of a fortified area. And of
Hmm.
course, our game having taken place already, you do understand what these areas are,
Yeah.
but well, these are the things that you see. Where are
Okay.
you going to go?
See, for the most part, for me, this is still all new because I was only half paying attention when they were going through it the first time. So I do give props
Of course.
for Alexa having to metagame the going through this all a second time as though it's brand new.
But either way, Griff, would you mind rolling a d4?
Okay. Go
Why a
ahead.
D4? Are you going to turn around and go back to the gate?
It's two.
Okay, that's the quarters. But yes, there was considering to go back to the gate to check out the way out. And but yes, so number 2 is the quarters hallway.
All right. That's the way the expedition heads, right?
Yep.
I
So
like
we're
to think
going
this is
down the
how
hallway
the great
towards.
explorer is doing it, just rolling dice on the. Well, there's 3 hallways here. I break out my D6.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Well, to make it appear a little more random, like I don't know the layout of this place.
Oh no, I meant like in character. In character, the explorer sees 3 routes to go and says, "Well, only one way to do this."
Yeah, let me bust out the dice.
Let fate guide us. Uh, but you head into the quarters, where there are innumerable rooms mined out straight into the side of the mountain. Some of them poking out into the ravine, giving you a brief glimpse out into it. With your dark vision, you can kind of see the dark, glittering shades of geode, though without light directly upon it. Its true luster is yet to be seen.
Hmm.
There are, of course, yet more skeletons lining the hallways and individual rooms. Some people apparently taken rather by surprise or while asleep. But yet, even those all seem to face a similar direction, and they all seem to start facing down one particular long hallway.
Are those sorry, are those geodes worth anything?
No, geodes are in fact not worth very much.
Huh. Okay.
They are, however, rather pretty and very interesting formations.
Well,
Go ahead
being
and give me a perception check, though.
say being worthless and pretty is basically what most valuable objects are all about.
That's most gemstones. But yes.
If I can go ahead and take the camera off, put it over here.
It's just that I have a 74 in evaluate, so if something's valuable, I ought to know.
Oh, Origin doesn't notice anything, but Birdhold, you can't help but notice that these skulls on the ground also seem to kind of glitter a little bit, and when you take a closer look, it looks as if there's geode growing inside of them,
Ugh.
particularly in the skulls, starting from the base of the neck,
I mean, that raises a
which, of course, seems broken.
seems somewhat of an interesting quandary there. Is how long it
Actually,
takes for geodes to grow on, calcium deposits versus how long it takes for a calcium deposit to decompose.
uh, actually, in fact, you additionally notice that all of their necks are broken, and that there are few other injuries upon them,
Well, wait,
except perhaps where someone may have fallen.
are these skeletons or dead bodies?
Skeletons.
Go with their skeletons, and yes, all their necks would be broken because nothing holds a skeleton together.
It's
You
not
could
that
take
it's
fractured
fallen
bones.
apart because there's no musculature. It's that the next vertebrae themselves have been crushed.
Okay, well, a crushed vertebrae is different from a broken neck.
There we go. See?
Like, because there's a difference between, say, a skeleton and, like, a mummified cadaver, where a mummified cadaver could have an obviously broken neck. A skeleton is just a series of bones that have fallen into a way.
But I'm sure if they were crushed by force, you could see, yeah, they're pulverized a little bit. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Alright, I'm just gonna go ahead and start dragging dwarfs down here. But the question is, do you go down that long, foreboding hallway?
Well, here's a good place to search. If there's quarters or houses or homes or something, might be a good place to search. Maybe we can find a diary or something.
Yes.
Most assuredly, while they were dying, they were spreading out papers of their...
Ah, yes, in their dying breath they go, ah, yes, is the cursed dragon of... Ah.
Well, it would help since it looks like it's been by violence, not by disease or hunger, or starvation. Maybe if there's any records of it.
Well, I mean,
Maybe
one of
we
those
can
could lead to the
tell.
other. It could be violence because of disease or violence because of hunger.
But both of those things take a slower rate. If it was a rapid die-off and we don't find anything, that'll give us some clues.
Oh, I rather meant like they were running out of food and people started fighting one another for what was left, which could appear sudden, but could have long-lasting
Yes.
repercussions.
True, but most dwarven holds I would think of this size would at least have some stores available.
Or a reproducible form of
Right,
food,
or
like algae
more-
or such. Cave
mushrooms.
Right, they
moss.
must have gotten their food from somewhere. The question is where?
Middenheim would be my guess.
Well,
Yeah.
can we do some searching to see if we can find any documents or journals or clues?
Amongst the quarters? Yes, of course.
Dimzad living up to the first three letters of his name.
Which one's the explorer again?
The explorer does not have search as a skill.
He stumbles. He's a stumbling explorer.
He's a cartographer,
I
thank
know,
you.
right?
He is far fancier than an explorer. So let's
Actually, I
see.
think it's the other way around.
Yeah, he started as a cartographer. Now he's an explorer.
He hasn't quite gotten the knack of it yet. But it does look like Berthold, that was a previous role. Okay, Mordrin has a success then. So Mordrin, looking around, you do in fact find a few pages of various journals of individual dwarves and the day-to-day lives of people who, from what you can see,
Well,
lived
he brings them
some...
immediately to somebody who can read them.
Oh, right. You can't actually read them.
Hey,
You hand them off to one of the other dwarves, and they will dictate aloud that these are journals of people's day-to-day lives. And looking at the dates, it looks like they must have been here at least 200 years ago, or at least that is the last few dates in many of these. So at least we have a time span from when they were last seen here. It would appear a lot of them spend time in the marketplace doing crafts, and it looks like they traded that with Middenheim generally for food for the hold. It looks like they also did... What is this word? Tours? They brought people down here intentionally for some reason? Weird.
They brought a man named Tor down here.
tours of duty, perhaps?
Perhaps. Maybe they hired out quite a few mercenaries. Strange.
But this place isn't designed for war. Or you'd think there'd be many more smithies and weapon shops and armories and gunsmiths.
Well, we've not found
True,
any of
it's
those
far
yet.
too open. Perhaps there's more to it. Maybe there's, more sections. So
So,
maybe somewhere deeper underground where the workshops are. It's usually a good idea to put them furthest away from where people sleep. Tends
yeah.
to, vibrate through the stone.
So there's no letters or notes about why people's necks are being broken. So it must have happened really quickly.
Well, not among these people, no.
Hmm, that's puzzling. Well, we should see where this thing goes before this tunnel goes before we backtrack to other locations so we can map it out properly.
Alright. So you head down the hallway, and, was it Control or Alt or Shift click that draws everyone's attention?
Shift. Shift click.
Shift. There we
Dun,
go.
dun, dun.
Go ahead and move these sheets out of the way. And then make sure I have the proper ones. Okay. So the mass of dwarves approaches the hallway, and you can't help but notice that the dust around here has been heavily disturbed as of late.
Hmm.
However, the door in front of you stands large and looms. And you can't, of course, help but feel a sense of dread.
So what are the real fast? What are the careers of the other dwarves?
The one that I'm controlling is a troll slayer.
Aha!
Khazgar is a vampire hunter,
Oh man.
and Yadri is a champion.
Oh geez, you really okay. So those guys are much
I
more
did
suited
not.
to
I
go in
did.
first.
I said I did not handpick them anyway. I random rolled them all, but I am paying 50 gold crowns for this group, which means that they have 30 advancements from a random created character.
So
So
yeah.
I advanced them 30 up to wherever they are now. So they might not be like full-on careers, but they're enough to get there.
So yeah, the two that I'm playing are essentially the one's the explorer, the other's kind of the interrogator type, and then the rest of the group are like bulldozers.
Well, to be fair, one of those two that you picked was originally a lot worse.
Aha.
He was a herald, which I guess makes more sense to the Bartisan family, having a herald and an explorer. But I'm like,
Yeah.
why would I take a herald with me to the to
To
announce
announce
me?
that you're
Yeah,
coming into the ruins, of course.
yeah. And it's like I'm paying
Let
money.
everyone know that you are squatting.
It's like I'm paying money
We
for
are
this guy.
removing you now.
No, I'm gonna go somewhere else with that.
Alright.
Well, I would Grimly would since he's the explorer say, this seems a little bit sketchy. Why don't we have the champion open the door since there appears to be disturbed dust on the ground?
Alright. The champion steps forward. The door opens. Ah. Alright. Move off the dynamic lighting layer. Move back to tokens. Here we go.
Here, hold on one sec. I'm going to rejoin as player if I'm still seeing everything.
Okay. You're also going to see a whole bunch of dwarves. Unfortunately, everyone will have vision of every dwarf, so...
Yeah, that's fine. I just don't want to, you know. I want to be able to know where the dynamic lighting is meant to be seen and where it's not.
Right, right?
Grimly will ask Berthold if, do you know if maybe there's any sort of curse or haunting on this place?
I mean, no.
Hmm.
Seeing as nobody knew about this place before.
Strange that there's skeletons about and there's disturbed dust and well, maybe it was the original explorers who managed to escape this place.
Yes. There was an original group that told us about this place. I did not hear any word, pray tell, of a curse.
Okay.
And of course, as you open the door inside, you can see what looks like a nice, fantastic foyer. However, it is covered in dust, and of course, plenty of rubble of statues, despite the few that still linger in the corners and the two massive ones shaking hands in the center of the room. The dwarves step in and spread out.
Well, I intentionally took control of the one dwarf who is bound to be suicidal.
Of
So,
course, there are still technically two more that are not necessarily claimed, but it's okay.
All right. So if this is a manor house of sorts, then we should try to find its library, or at least where they kept their book of grudges.
Right. Well, I suppose we should get a feel for the layout and figure out where we need to ransack for that.
Okay. Well, let's stay together. Still, this makes me uneasy with the corpses or the skeletons and the geodes and the staring at the one direction.
which walls are actually walls?
The walls that are actually walls have blue lines.
Okay. I'm just always confused by like that and that.
Yeah. Yeah, this is why I explicitly started doing the blue lines to try to make that clearer.
At what point do we notice the trail of blood or footsteps or whatever those are?
Red
As
paint.
soon as it is within your vision, you do in fact see a noticeable trail of recent blood. It is, of course, dried, but it is not like the centuries-old dust that is underneath it, even.
Right. It would probably be kind of a dark red at this point. Now that's
Let's
not
leave.
good.
What do you think it is?
Well,
Think
it could be that the explorer got injured, but what injured them? And why do they start here?
Yeah, what's down here?
That's a pretty fair question, actually. Why does it start here? 'Cause it seems like if they got injured and then walked down that way, they got injured here and were
Right.
retreating away from here.
In fact, looking at the trail of blood, it does seem like it gets thicker instead of thinner as you go down the trail.
So it's like something got.
Well, that he was bleeding more and more. Which,
What
you
would
know, is the way it works. You get hurt, and then as you exert yourself to get away from it, you're bleeding more, so it makes sense.
Rather the reverse here. He was bleeding. They were bleeding more down the way and bled less down here as the wound clotted.
I choose to be an optimist and just assume that they weren't like snatched up and eaten at this point, and instead wrapped themselves in bandages and now are fine.
And now own a successful bakery
Yes.
Of course.
where they bake pies and cookies.
Oh, I was gonna say bread from the bones of Englishmen.
Well, this is disturbing, but we should still find the library.
Ah, but which way?
Well, you don't head towards the books when you're bleeding unless this is the result of a
Yeah.
major paper cut.
Yeah, let's not follow the blood trail. Let's go down the main hall.
Alright, you go down the main hall and see Well, of course, yet another skeleton in the center of the hallway, its head turned, looking straight towards this wall.
Um, are you guys staying behind or?
Berthold is, yeah.
And Morton has to stay with Berthold.
Okay, so we're scouting out. Okay, then let's go down the main hall further and yeah.
Gustav will, Gustav, Emmerich is on his way in, he says. But, when he comes bound, the other two dwarves, assumedly, will have owners at that point.
Right?
So they will be
Okay.
with.
This just keeps going, so it's almost like a great hall.
And Morton's just as good of a fighter as
Indeed.
these guys, but he's not going to get to fight anything with them.
Of course, here the hallway splits. You can see,
Well, here, in that case, then, hold on. I'll just be in the very back then, so Mordrin can be with. Unfortunately, Berthold is restrained by the vision of the dwarves, since Berthold can't see shit.
Well, I do see a big door at the end of this hall. Let's try opening that.
alright. So you go ahead and approach the door. Do-do-do. Lighting. The door creaks open and you can see an armored figure inside.
Yeah, it's a dummy.
Yes, you can even see rotten straw poking out through it.
Morton's
Hmm.
back.
But both the dummy and the armor rack both seem to be facing the same-ish direction. As they kind of look out this way.
Well, hey, is that actually weapons on her?
Indeed there are. And in fact, the armor rack here has a full set of plate for a dwarf.
Wow, that's worth a fortune.
Like I said, y'all are working for a share of what you find in here, so it behooves you not to just, grab armor and wear it, if you can make more money than that.
Of course, glass is scattered across the floor in this small little armory/training room, and you can see the moisture on the floor and the rust on the plate.
Yeah, it's still dwarven crafted, but it's probably needs some repair. Nevertheless, that alone is worth the expedition. And it's a full suit?
Good question.
Probably missing the leather components because they would have rotted away.
Oh,
Right,
sure.
there's not the leather underneath, it is simply the metal plate of it.
The
Right, but
chain
it's
be there with
helmet,
it.
chest, arms, and legs.
Does not appear to be any chain with this one.
Still, if it's a full suit, yeah, it's without the chain or leather. I mean, it's still that's worth the price of admission.
Indeed. Well, we found everything we need, guys. Let's just go ahead and get out of here.
Well, Dimzad will Morden and Berthold know that they found a suit of plate mail. Does anybody have armorer or something like that to see what shape it's in?
I'm checking now.
I think one of them is in fact a smith.
I took weaponsmith.
Okay.
Dimzad is a regular blacksmith.
Those would definitely qualify to at least see the quality that this thing is in.
Wow, barely. Yeah, the other two are just biners.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, Kaz is a smith.
There it
Just
is.
barely, but of course, taking a look at the various metals around here, they'd probably need some polishing, some shine, maybe a little bit of modification. But other than that, they should be more or less in shape. They are in poor condition.
We were saying, what, full suit of plate?
Yep.
Yep.
Alright, I'm just making a list in case we come across things. What's on the table?
On the table are a number of rusted weapons.
Alright, so not even poor shape, just rusty.
What's the step below poor?
There isn't.
There isn't? Okay, they are all in poor condition.
Just random weapons or what?
I'm gonna say random weapons.
Alright, not worth it.
Yeah. Well, if we're
Well, we could
desperate.
figure out exactly, but if there's something in particular looking for, might be on the table.
I'm not looking for anything, I'm just loot value, basically.
Yeah. How many of
Right.
them are there?
Do. I think there's probably about 10 to 20 weapons on that table.
Dang. Okay. Well, let's roll then.
Alright, so I'll go ahead and do a roll, and we'll find an exact number just to help everyone out. Oh, never mind,
Oh,
you already
even
rolled.
better.
We'll go with 14.
19 weapons.
No, I think the GM roll takes precedent over a random unsolicited roll.
Curse my generosity. Alright, there are in fact 19 weapons now that you actually use all of your fingers and your toes to count.
Alright, I'm just gonna list it down as 19 poor quality weapons.
Hand weapons, yeah.
We can determine what kind of weapons they are later.
Hand weapon actually makes perfect sense.
So just swords, axes, and knives.
And a really big club.
Well,
At least the stone didn't rot.
that's something at least. Okay, so if I were a library, I would probably be more into the interior. So let's see.
Yeah, considering
or
there's
south?
humidity over here. You don't keep your books next to humid places.
That's true. So maybe I'm feeling, since everything is looking south, that's kind of skeeving me out a little bit. So let's go north.
Alright, you wander north.
Another door.
In fact, that one looks like it's already somewhat ajar.
Then it's not a door.
Okay, well, let's push it open and see what's inside.
Alright, you push it the rest of the way open. Inside, of course, you can see a rotting skeleton, looking, of course, in the same direction as all others. In this room, it appears to be a small study. In fact, there is a small chest over on one side of the room, and shelves lined with books on another. And of course, the desk itself seems like it is an utter mess of different papers and quills, with glass shattered all across it.
What the heck happened? That thing's broke. Well, we found a study.
Well, I mean, one really wonders why an underground structure, building, whatever, this place has glass windows.
Well, it's
It
also
looks out
quite
into the
well.
ravine, of course.
Right, you know, what I like having is a window that looks into a brick wall.
But there's fancy geodes out there.
Well, let's search the place.
Right, what's in the, is the chest locked?
Good question. I need to actually find out where I wrote down what was in that chest. I actually forgot it existed until just. Is it on this page? Uh, hmm. On 7. Is it before it? Flash is cold. Gosh dang, this chest has got to be somewhere around here.
Welcome aboard, Emmerich.
I'm very, very, very sorry.
We're doing the, Berthold Mordrin side of things right now, but I have a pack of 5 hirelings at the moment. I've claimed one of them to play. Anna has picked two of them, which means the remaining two are yours to play.
Okay.
If you go under characters on the thing, NPCs, and one that says Expedition,
Oh yeah.
Yadri and Khazgar would be yours to choose.
All right.
Dang, where is this stuff? I swear I had it here. No, this is, It is, lost to time as far as I can tell, but I think I have an idea of what I want to do with it. The chest is in fact locked, of course. And of course rusted around the hinges as well. How do you plan to open it?
Judicial amount of force.
Hammer it is. You want to make a strength test.
Hammer time.
It will be at a negative because it is a chest made to not be broken open.
All right. Morgan could try it with the pick end of his hammer. I got a 51 in strength. What would
Alright, go ahead and take it at a
Right.
minus 10. And see if you can mine the chests away.
Nice.
There you go. With a single swing, you knock the hinge straight off and let the top just pop off.
It was a minor inconvenience.
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Oh,
Oh.
proper application of force, boys?
Alright. Inside, you see a number of papers, of course, which you can't read. You said Mordrin was doing that, right?
Yes. So he would be in the
Mordrin,
room.
you're in the room.
Of course, everybody else could read them, though. Literally everyone else.
Yes, Kazari right next to you goes, oh, I see what these are. These look like, various deeds and, claims of ownership. Perhaps a few different trade deals as well. Oh, and look at this bag right here. This is their gold. Don't need to read for that. And it does seem to be a rather hefty pouch.
wow.
How much gold is it?
Let's roll. There are 29 gold crowns in the pouch.
I'd say this is a successful expedition right now.
Indeed.
Alright, I'm just adding it all to the growing list. Papers of deeds and trade deals, 29 gold crowns of coin.
And do you search out the rest of the room?
Yes.
Of course.
Alright. Just waiting on those searches.
Do
Oh,
search check.
you didn't. I say you didn't ask for it.
I'm sorry, I thought I implied that. My bad. Alright. So, searching around through the various books and pieces of paper, you do get a relative idea of this clan's history. It seems the Stonebreakers were a family that came to inhabit the Foshlag Mountain that Middenheim sits upon about 500 years ago. It looks like they came to mine precious stone, and found it for a time. They ceased to be known to inhabit. Oh, I'm doing this from the opposite end. It looks like their papers end about 200 years ago, and it looks like nobody managed to really write anything out about what was happening at the time.